Hi students, today I'm going to show you some parts of a sewing machine. If you have a sewing machine, your sewing machine probably has almost the same parts. If you don't have a sewing machine, this is just going to show you the parts of it. To make your mask this week, if you want to use a sewing machine, you need to have an adult watching you the whole time that'll help you understand the machine. Sewing machines can be dangerous if you don't know how to use them, and also they can be really frustrating. They're easy to mess up if you don't know how to use them. They're complicated. So like I said, if you want to use a sewing machine to make your mask, that's great. If you don't have a sewing machine or you don't want to use it, that's also fine. Okay, so here I have my sewing machine. This is the needle over here, and this is the main part that you look at when you're using it. Now to operate the sewing machine, you have a presser pedal. This is called a foot pedal, and when you press on it with your foot, and the sewing machine is on, then it's going to make the needle move up and down. I'm going to turn my sewing machine off so I don't accidentally use it while I'm talking to you. All right, we have some different parts of our machine that adjust things that sometimes need to be adjusted and adjust things that often need to be adjusted. So I'm going to start with the thing that needs to be adjusted most often, and that is your stitch length over here. On mine, it has like a short line, a medium line, and a long line. That stitch length, when I move it, will make my stitches shorter or make them longer like a basting stitch. Up here, most sewing machines have different stitches that they use, and they'll show you like on a chart what kind of stitches they have. For most sewing machines, the first stitch, the number 1 stitch, is the straight stitch, and then it'll have some kind of zigzag on it. For our purposes, you're just going to keep it on 1, so you don't need to worry about it. If you do use a zigzag stitch, I have a lever up here that changes how wide the zigzag stitch is. Over here is your tension. There is a number that's usually in a box. For me, that's a 3. And you almost always keep your tension in that box. Sometimes when you're sewing really heavy fabrics or really light fabrics, you have to adjust this tension, but it's not something you want to mess with if you don't know what you're supposed to do. Just keep it in the little box here. If it's accidentally adjusted to some weird number, it's going to mess up your machine. So make sure before you start sewing, it's in the little box. Okay, up here, I have, let me see if I can show you. Up here, I have my thread on a spindle. It has a little hat it wears that keeps the thread on there and feeding properly. Over here, this is a bobbin winder, and it moves over when I want to wind a bobbin. I'll show you in a minute what a bobbin is. When you thread the machine, the thread goes over through a couple of slots and levers, and it finally gets to the needle. So I have kind of a funny foot on here called a walking foot. Your foot is going to be probably a lot smaller. But there is a lever here. Sorry, wrong lever. There it is. There is a lever behind the foot that lowers the presser foot or raises the presser foot. Whenever you're sewing, the presser foot is down. When you're not sewing, the presser foot is up. Down here, is the bobbin casing. And your bobbin casing might look a little bit different. It might actually be in the front of the machine, but most newer machines have drop-in bobbins like this. And the bobbin, it's a bobbin, it's like the lower thread of your machine, goes into the bobbin housing. The last part of the machine that's important is this hand wheel over here. You always want to move the hand wheel towards yourself. So it moves the needle up and down, and that's helpful with threading sometimes or with unsticking your needle if it gets stuck. Okay, so to go over it again, we have different knobs that will adjust our stitch length. We have our thread on a spindle. We have our presser foot that moves up and down with a lever. We have our hand wheel and our foot pedal. Have a great day, guys.